FearnutZ, it's a show where two guys talk to you. Even though you can't talk back, Mr. FearnutZ will feel so much to talking guys. Last 30 minutes to an hour, those two guys that I mentioned have a show named FearnutZ. And you should watch it right now.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the FearnutZ Hour, best half-hour show on the internet. I'm Mr. FearnutZ. Along with me always is Fearsome. What is on topic for today?
Today we're going to cover foreign television, and
this has been a really highly requested topic
it has
by
been,
several family members.
Yeah, a lot of people, family members and friends, for some reason, want us to talk about foreign shows. The biggest outpouring has been about Trailer Park Boys, and we're going to get to that, but let me preface this by saying this is not a comprehensive list. We just tried to pick a few in different categories that we liked or disliked, or a couple of the popular ones that were translated between countries. Don't flame us for forgetting one, or, you know, if you want to throw up some recommendations for people that say, hey, if you like this and you might like that, by all means, go ahead. But don't be like, oh my God, how could you ever say anything bad about my show? Because I don't care. I don't care. You can try and tell me your show's good. It's not. It's not. Alright, so, you wanted to start on negative. Why would you want to start me on negative?
Well,
Why would you not want to leave it for the end? That way you can cut me off because we're going over time.
I figure we can just get it out of the way and then get to the good stuff.
Alright. Well, I don't really have any that I hate or anything. Let me just start off by saying that. I just have a couple that were really disappointing to me, that I don't really see the allure of. And let me preface this with one more thing, actually. We are not going to cover much Asian, because, especially Brandon's a big fan of anime. I used to be a bigger fan of anime. I still try and watch it now, but basically just on Netflix from time to time. It's about all I can muster up. But that'll probably be a show of its own that I doubt the same people will be clamoring for. That'll be for the hardcore geek group.
Yeah, I plan on Animazement. Obviously, we're going to be shooting at an anime convention. That's going to be the heavy anime covered. But if you do have live action Asian cinema, I know there's some popular...
well, not cinema. We're not covering movies. We're covering shows. But now the Asian shows
there's quite a few shows that
are fucking weird. Like, I've yet to see an Asian show where I was like, oh, that's a pretty good show. Usually I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is fucking weird.
Yeah.
What was that cat show that Jose... It was an animated show, like a CG show. That was fucking weird. Anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't the cat. It was about the hobo. It's like Mr. Jones and Junk Island or something like that. Junk Alley.
Yeah, it was... Well, the cat was there, too.
Yeah, the cat was always in the episode.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Alright, the two that a lot of people tell me are so super fantastic, and I know one of these, I'm just going to get flamed for this, but let me just throw it out there. Doctor Who, okay? I personally don't see what all the fuss is about. I mean, I saw some episodes here and there with various Doctor Who's, and they were okay, but I don't see what the fuss is about. I mean, maybe it's because I actually liked the first guy the best, and he was only in it for like a season, and then the other guys just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the appeal is. I never really got into it.
One of the reasons why I was wanting to put this first, because I can't add a lot to this conversation, because I haven't actually watched Doctor Who. It's something that I've been meaning to watch for a long time, but there's just so many things that I have on my plate to get through. I
think they're only like half-hour episodes, so I'll tell you what, we'll throw it on the queue, and we'll give it a thorough chance. Although, like I said, I've seen probably a dozen episodes of it, give or take, and it's okay, but it's like, what's that show you got me watching? Twin Peaks.
Oh, Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
my favorite show of all time is Twin Peaks.
It's one of those that some people just love, and I don't get it. I don't get it with either of them, you know? Like, Twin Peaks, not bad. I just am not excited to see the next episode.
I think the only reason you're not liking Twin Peaks more is because you don't have a box of donuts as you watch it.
That could be too, because that is kind of a dick move.
They do show quite a few
that's
fantastic
an American
shots.
show we're not talking about.
Well, they show quite a few. There's great cinematography on the donuts.
Okay,
You got to give it that.
So the next one, and there's no arguing with me on this one, is Torchwood. Okay? I heard a ton of people telling me how fucking good Torchwood was. And to give you an idea, have you ever seen any of
I haven't seen
Torchwood?
Torchwood.
Everybody compared it to X-Files. Nothing like X-Files. Nothing like X-Files. Like, if you combined X-Files with some cheap knockoff full of pansy actors, that would be Torchwood. Like, first of all, the stories are just so jumbled and just convoluted. I don't like any of the characters. Like, none of the characters are just... None of them appeal to me. I mean, the leader guy, kind of, who's like this gay, immortal, transdimensional being or something. I don't know. I didn't finish the series because I watched like a season and a half, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot possibly sit through any more of this. But basically, he is the closest to a likable character, because you have the bad boy, badass character who is a little pussy. Like, he's not believable as a badass at all. Okay, you watched Bean. Reloaded. Hey, that's one I don't have on my list. Bean. But, or Bean Reborn, or whatever.
That was Johnny English.
Or Johnny English, whatever. Anyway, you remember the bad guy's, like, little henchman that had just kind of a line for a mouth? He's the badass in Torchwood. He's like that guy's coming in, he's gonna fuck some shit up. No, he's not. He's a 120-pound little fairy. He ain't fucking shit up. And by the way, this is a spoiler alert on this next part. If you ever plan on watching the show, just tune out for about 30 seconds. The main girl, who is like the nice, impressionable, real person who gets swept up in this sci-fi adventure, cheating on her husband, like halfway into it, with the pussy badass. And then the other characters in it are just two-dimensional fucking background characters that, like, they try to add depth to, but they basically spend 5 minutes trying to add depth, and then they forget they ever even did it.
So the T-Dog?
Yeah, basically, it's the rest is populated by T-Dogs. It's fucking horrible. And so let's skip on, keeping on kind of that theme. We're going to talk about translations. Some translations, I think, can turn out well. Rarely they're better, and most times they're horrible. Just some of the quick ones we'll touch on. Being Human. Did you watch either of those?
I've seen a little bit of both, and I like both of them in their own way.
I actually like the British one, the first 3 seasons anyway. This newest season, no, I'm not even going to give it a shot. I saw some previews for it, read a bit about what they're doing. They basically got rid of all the main characters at the end of the 3rd season, and then like killed off the rest of them at the beginning of the 4th season. So it's just a completely new cast where they tried to kind of remake it as the same one, and that never works out. Never. You can't just be like, oh, we're going to replace this character with another person.
Spoiler alert
exactly.
before starting that.
No, because basically just watch season 1 through 3. And you'll be like, oh, hey, that's pretty good. You know, I feel satisfied. And anyway, they made an American translation of it, and the American translation, not bad. The only thing is, they tried to make it too much like the British one, and they cast completely different types of actors. Like, the vampires are my biggest thing, because the guy that plays the werewolf in the American's really good, and the girl that plays the ghost in the American's pretty good. The vampire guy, I don't think it's that he's a bad actor or anything. The fact is, they tried to cast him too close to the British vampire, and the British vampire is this kind of basically looks like Gavin Rosdell or whatever his name is, from Bush, and the guy in the American one is like this big fucking buzz cut, like all-American quarterback. It's completely different guys, and they try and fit him in the same role, and he's just not gonna come off as this emo bad boy because he looks like the fucking all-American quarterback that you would love to take home to meet your mother. I mean, it doesn't work. Next, now this one, I don't know if you, I highly doubt you ever saw the American translation of, since you just got into the British recently.
I've been into the British for a while, but I just got to where I could watch more of it.
Okay.
Recently.
Well,
because obviously I've been watching Bean since I was a kid. But Sam Witwer, that is.
Anyway, I don't care about that guy.
But he was Doomsday.
But we're trying to move it along here.
That's where I know him from.
Coupling, hilarious British comedy, especially for the first, 2 seasons?
The first 3 seasons.
First 3 seasons?
Series. Because in British TV, they do series which are shorter than our seasons.
Whatever, we're not going to clarify that. Basically, if you look it up on something, it's probably going to be either seasons or series. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. But Coupling, amazing first 3 seasons. Last season, not bad. Not as good as the first couple, but still not bad.
It was really good. It just lost one of the main characters going into the 4th series.
Now, the American version, you probably don't even remember because it only lasted like 5 episodes and it was off because it did not translate well. They can get away with things in prime time in England that we can't get away with here. And basically it's a more adult version of Friends.
Yeah.
And which is great because to me Friends was too G-rated for me. I never really got into it. But Coupling I loved. They tried to bring it over here and it just became a Friends knockoff. So that just ended badly.
Yeah, and you can find Coupling on Hulu and on, if you have Amazon Prime like I do, you can find it on there. And they got the full series completed up there. So definitely worth watching, the British one.
Yeah. Next of the translations is Top Gear. Top Gear is one of mine and my dad's favorite shows for years and years now. Brandon's been getting into it for, you've been watching about a year now or so? You've been watching it?
I've been probably a little bit less. I've been watching it at work, though, so I've been burning through it pretty quick.
But for those of you that don't know, it's basically these 3 older gentlemen that love cars and love driving, and they test out cars, they do crazy contests and stuff with each other, and the biggest appeal of the show is it's a car show that's not made for gearheads.
Yes.
It's not made for mechanics. It's made for guys that like to drive, that like to have fun and be stupid and just enjoy life. And these guys, they're just charming. They work well together. They get along. You can see them play with each other. Well, not play with each other. Poor choice of words there. Joke with each other and just goof off.
Really good chemistry.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a car guy. So this just the premise of the show is not something that would appeal to me. But the personalities presented in the show, the way they present the cars, it's not about, this car has, they talk about the torque, they talk about the RPMs, they talk about, the horsepower. But it's just about the enjoyment they have while driving, the good, the bad of each vehicle.
Yeah, basically.
And they work together so well.
And they basically, even, you forget it's a car show half the time, honestly, because, 70% of the show isn't even devoted to talking about the car. It's them talking about current events or whatever. And even when they're talking about the car, they just kind of gloss over the specs real quick, list them off for you, and then dive into what's great about the car, about how well it corners, how fun it feels, how good it sounds. They actually just relate like a common person what they would enjoy about the cars and shit. And if that's not enough for you, each week they do a celebrity and a reasonably priced car where they get basically a cheap car like a Kia or a Toyota or something, like a little Corolla or a Rio, something like that. And they have celebrities compete for time trials around their track. And a lot of times that's hilarious too. And it's just a great show. You really got to try it. Now on to the American version. It's got some likable guys in it, but honestly, they're not likable enough.
Yeah.
Like they're the underdogs that you kind of want to cheer for, and you wish their show was good. It's just not. They don't work together well.
The man show. Like, Doug Stanhope is good. Joe Rogan is good. Put them together to fill, Adam and Jimmy's shoes.
Yeah.
Just wasn't possible. They weren't connected enough. Like, Adam and Jimmy, you could tell, were friends on and off the show. They just grabbed two guys they thought would be funny, two comedians, put them together. It just didn't work. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, talk about the Man Show. That was on Comedy Central. The old show was great. They got, just one season they switched
I don't
to try
think
to
we
keep
need
it
to go
going.
into all that.
So I'm just
we're
trying to
rush through
explain.
here. But
I'm just trying to explain.
Well, I'm sure
the,
people
how
got the
people-
reference.
Yes.
Anyway.
The Man Show.
The,
On Comedy Central. It is really bad unless he switched hosts.
I'm leaving all this in. Don't ask me to edit it out. It's staying in.
I'm fine with that.
The Top Gear, I especially don't know why they went through all this, because here's exactly what they should have done. They should have, when they were bringing Top Gear over here, Leno was being outed from The Tonight Show. He was out, and Conan was in. Leno is America's fucking go-to car guy.
Yeah.
Everybody knows fucking Leno loves cars and loves doing talk shows and has pull to bring in even bigger celebrities than any of the guys on Top Gear do. Why the fuck didn't they put Leno on Top Gear? They could have fucking put Leno on Top Gear and it wouldn't be stuck on the History Channel where hardly anybody watches it, because it's not really a show for car guys, and it's not really like, it's a car show that's not for car guys. So it's going to have a hard enough time finding a fucking audience in America. I don't know why the fuck they didn't get Leno for it. I had a dream team picked out. We're not even going to get into that, though. We're going to move along to the next one, and that is The Office. Now, this is the only one... I think this
is the most successful.
Well, and it's the only one that I think the American is better.
Yeah, I agree.
And I liked the American one, I like pretty well. Am I dying to watch it every week? No. But when I do catch it, I always laugh. The British one, again, in Britain they usually don't carry the series on, which is another thing I have against Doctor Who. Everybody tells me that that's a good thing about foreign television, is they don't drag it on, and I agree on that. Doctor Who's been around for like 37 seasons, so that's a bad strike against that record. But anyway, which one were we talking about? The Office. The Office. Ricky Gervais had a lot of good comedians, like the one guy that plays one of the two bumbling pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. I love that guy in it. The only thing is, Ricky Gervais, I think he comes off as too much of a prick at times.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have that...
charm.
Yeah, well...
Best way I could put it. He doesn't have the charm. Like, Michael Scott, you believe, is kind of like a bumbling idiot that... Always good intention, though. And then Ricky Gervais, he just comes off as kind of a dick. Yeah. A lot of the times in it.
Yeah, and I think that that's his thing, that's what he's going for. I don't think it's an accident or anything.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't think it can carry it as well. I think, the British show ran its course in that span. I don't think the British show could have lasted like the American version did. There's just a lot more likable people in it.
Yes.
And characters. But anyway, there was one more translation we were going to cover. What was it? Oh, I remember the last one. Shameless. This is one that I kind of want to put in with The Office, but I haven't seen enough of each series to really make that call. I saw some of the British and some of the American, and the British got away with more than we could on the network TV here, but it's not on network TV, it's on Showtime, and so the American gets away with even more. And William H. Macy is just a hell of a fucking actor.
Yeah, he's really good actor.
I mean, and if you watch that travesty of a movie, Dragon Ball, and you would just wish that, you know, you got to see some nudity in it and that would have made it not a horrible fucking tragedy to watch, then you should watch Shameless, because it has Goku and Chi-Chi from the Dragon Ball movie. And nudity from both of them, if you're into that thing. So anyway, I think that covers translations.
Yeah.
So, on to positives?
The positives, yeah. This is why
Why
I said...
start in Canada?
We can start in Canada. And I guess I'll take the first one. This is a show I started watching on Hulu because I kept getting ads and bookmarks for it, requests for it. And it's called The Booth at the End. It stars Xander Berkeley. It's had one season so far, and it's one of the most interesting shows I have seen. One of the previews says it's kind of X-Files meets Twin Peaks, which are two of my favorite shows. I wouldn't quite call it that because it is Xander Berkeley sitting at a diner, sitting at a booth, and that's the entire show. People come in and talk to him, and you wonder if it's going to show what's going on outside. So the first episode I watched, they just kind of sit there. It was intriguing enough that I watched the second episode, and by the third episode I was hooked. It's basically, I don't really want to ruin anything, but basically Xander Berkeley's character, I think, may be the devil. It never really explains what he is, but he's a guy that can get stuff done. He basically can grant your wish as long as you complete this task he gives you in order to meet the requirements of what he's asking. So it's all these people coming in, basically his clients coming in and talking to him and explaining what they're doing step by step. And it's hard to explain why it's so good. It's just something that you're going to have to watch. The entire first season's up on Hulu. You can watch it there. Very
I would have
interesting.
started on one of the many Canadian shows we have in common, and then ended with our individual picks. But whatever, we can just start with that one because I haven't seen that one. I plan on watching it. I hear good things about it. The main reason I hear good things about it, though, is I believe they're in talks to make an American translation to it.
I don't understand why they would do that. I don't understand the American translation of English-speaking shows.
We've had these rants.
I know.
before.
It just doesn't make sense, though.
All right,
It's
onward and
not
upward.
like you have to have subtitles or anything.
Some of the classic Canadians that we love. Kids in the Hall. Did you ever watch Kids in the Hall back in the day?
I didn't care for Kids in the Hall.
It's kind of like the Monty Python of Canada. You know, you have 9 out of 10 that are misses, but then you have that one that's just fucking magic.
Amazing.
And Kids in the Hall had those from time to time. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the skit where it shows how they get suits to sell in, like, Men's Warehouse and suit stores. And it has them, like, actually acting like trappers, basically scanning CEOs and stuff. Like they're laying bear traps around and paddling a canoe through the street. And it sounds ridiculous, and it is. But watching it, it's fucking hilarious. Like, I was in tears. That's a good Canadian classic. Another good Canadian classic, The Red Green Show. You ever watch that one?
No.
You never saw The Red Green Show?
No.
It's all about this old guy that, like, fixes everything with duct tape. He goes and hangs out with his buddies at the Moose Lodge. He has this imbecile guy that, like, idolizes him and wants to do everything he wants to do. And it's just this funny, cute show. Like, it's something that, like, you know, when you're hanging out with, like, your grandparents or something and you don't really have anything that you can do to spend time together, you know? So you're looking for something and you don't want to tell the dirty jokes. You want to tell the jokes that are kind of adult but good enough that you can tell your grandma. That's what this show is. This show is what you can watch with your grandma or grandpa or your aunt who, you know, considers herself a little cheeky but not really. That one. Those are the ones you want to watch this show with. But it's a good show. You should give it a try. We'll have to look it up and see if it's
I
awesome.
would have liked it if we started on a show that both of us have seen. But
Well,
whatever.
With Canada,
Whatever.
we're going to end that way since you decided to start the other way. And so this is the one that everybody has been wanting to hear about, apparently. The Trailer Park Boys.
The Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys is like, you hear the premise and it sounds so stupid, you never think you'd like it. You watch an episode of it and you're like, oh my god, it's just white trash TV. Yeah. It's like they're making a fake documentary about real white trash people. Why would anybody watch this? Let's see if it gets better. So you watch another episode. And then you're like, oh, I like Bubbles, or, this guy reminds me of this dude I know. Let's watch another episode. Before you know it, you've watched all the series online, and now you feel like you have to go out and buy the movies on DVDs. And like, a month after you heard of this show, you own the entire series and like the 3 motion picture specials.
Yeah, I mean, it's a show that it took me a while to get into. It was probably 3 or 4 episodes in. I was just like, this is too close to home. This is pretty much just people I know doing stupid shit. And it didn't help that one of them looks like a friend of ours, almost exactly like him. I'm not going to mention any names. But I was just like, man, this is pretty dumb. Just the chemistry between the 3 main characters, Bubbles, let's see,
Bubbles, Julian,
and Ricky.
Ricky, yeah.
Ricky. The 3 of those guys, they just work so well together, and there's so many hilarious moments in it.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, Conky. Conky's the man. It's the puppet.
Oh. I hated that puppet. Yeah, I mean, Bubbles is just like, he's got to be the most lovable character ever invented. Like, you just want to hang out with Bubbles in his little shack and watch his TV, and it's just fucking amazing. I mean, if you've never seen Trailer Park Boys, you have to give it a chance. And do it on a day where you have a couple hours, because you're going to want to give it a couple episodes chance. And then once you get a couple episodes in, you're gonna watch the entire fucking series. I promise you that. I've yet to meet a single fucking exception to that. Don't know why. Can't, I mean, there's just something about the way they all click. It all works. And it's fucking hilarious. It has gotta be like one of the funniest shows I've seen in the past couple years. Okay, I think that covers all of the Canada we were wanting to cover.
I believe so, yes.
What?
So I believe so.
Yeah, okay. So on to England. Let's see. Should we start with classic and work to modern, or vice versa?
Classic and modern's fine.
Alright, yeah, we'll go classic, since we can definitely overlap on that. Of course, Monty Python. Monty Python, Bean, Benny Hill. You can't mention British television without mentioning these names. And they're all kind of different, because, well, Benny Hill and Bean are in the similar group that you know about what's going to happen every time. They stick to their same style, and you either like it or you don't. They're like the Three Stooges, You knew what type of shenanigans were going to come out, and sometimes they would surprise you. You would think they were going to go one way, and they would go the other. And sometimes, even though you know what's coming, it's still funny as hell to watch the train wreck happen. I remember when we were watching Bean like a month ago or something. What was he, in church? And he was getting shit all over his hands, trying to wipe it anywhere and hide it in his pocket and all this and that. And it was so awkward. It was just fucking hilarious. And I mean, you knew what was happening. Like, as soon as he got something on his hand and went to reach in his pocket, you were like, oh, he's gonna put it in the other thing. And he just put it in his pocket. But it was still so funny, even though you knew what was coming. And then I think on the opposite end of that is the Monty Python, which, like we talked about with Kids in the Hall, they had 9 misses for every hit, but when they hit, they fucking hit. I mean, anybody can quote you Monty Python. If you meet a person who has penis and testicles, he can quote you some fucking Monty Python. I don't care who it is, where he is, whatever. He can tell you some kind of fucking Monty Python.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I saw anything from Monty Python, it was my brother Joe and I were watching like late night MTV or something. They just showed a clip of the Black Knight fight from the Holy Grail. And both of us were just rolling and on the ground crying, laughing. Because it was so amazing. Where if you haven't seen the Holy Grail, you have to see it. It's one of the greatest movies ever.
Search for the Holy Grail, then that's
the Black Knight
that should be
scene
top on the list.
I didn't even know what Monty Python was until I saw that scene, and they explained that it was a scene from that movie. And after that, I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, that's gold. So let's update a little bit, and Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf is another one of those that started off strong, got a little weaker. I still liked it throughout the entirety of the series. I put it up there with Coupling, that it was stronger in the beginning and then got a little weaker, but it was still likable.
Yeah, I disagree because, like, the first 2 seasons, they kind of build this story arc. Like, it's more sitcomic than most shows, where it's, episodic. But they do have
basically a sitcom set in space. Like, if you took Seinfeld and threw him in space with a talking cat, then do you have an idea of what?
It's not a talking cat, it's a cat that evolved into a person.
Yeah, a cat man.
A cat man type guy.
Yeah. See, when you gotta start fucking explaining shit like this, it's best just to say that it's a sci-fi sitcom.
Yeah.
And it's awkward humor, and it's basically just 3 dudes of various types and personalities on a ship. I mean, you got actual person, a cat person, hologram, and the ship itself.
Computer,
and that's the cast. I mean, every now and then they'll have another character on, but it's a rare fucking occasion.
Well, they did get the robot that was a reoccurring character in quite a few episodes.
Yeah. But I think that's a good classic one that people need to check out.
It's definitely worth watching. I personally didn't like it when they switched, because they had this old man as the computer that talked to him, and once again, he worked well within the group, and then they switched it to a female computer that I just didn't feel like worked as well, and that's when they started having the robot on more and more. I just thought the first 2 seasons kind of worked together better with the cast.